This is all of our boot accessories that we've slowly developed over like the last 4 years as we've done more and more boot reviews and realized how many things are missing in the market. So be sure to check out all these below. They make great gifts, self-gifts, and it's a huge way that you can help support the channel. So check them out below. I literally just finished recording this and then the audio didn't work. Someone touched my setup and I sat down for 30 minutes, gushed about these, geeked about it, and now I gotta do it again. So I'll try my best to keep the same energy, but unfortunately I've already seen them and there's no audio. So you'll have a short and condensed version of it. I'm still excited about the boots, just not excited about the fact that I re-recorded this whole freaking video. So, kill me. But fortunately, it's something I like. I like footwear, I like boots, I'll do it. I'll talk every freaking day about it. So first, I already know about this product too, so poor Modl, this brand, because I like went through and like figured out what the marketing was, or like what the product was, how it worked, and it was actually a really cool unboxing, but then it got screwed up. So I apologize, Modl. Anyway, this is really interesting, because a lot of people have like rubber snubbers, they've got their tie downs in their trucks and their bikes, but they're kind of big and cumbersome, and they're really handy when you need them, but when you don't need them, they're just in the way. You know, they take up room in your truck or whatever, on your bike or motorcycle. What if you could literally just put a rubber snubber around your wrist and have the ability to have a tie down with you anytime? Or throw it around your backpack, throw it around your truck, throw it around your car, bike, what I meant to say. So check this stuff out. This is really cool. So they send you these big long strips. I literally have them all connected. Like this. They send you little shorty strips. They send you all this hardware that allows you to make like a little bracelet out of it. Like this. And you can actually wear a literal tie down, rubber tie down on your wrist. And whenever you need to take it off, you pop that thing off, throw it around. Let's pretend this boot is your tie down for your, or like the tube on your bike or something. And you want to rubber snubber down a little NAF knife. You just take that thing off, give it a little stretch, hopefully. It's really hard to do on camera. Look at that. That's pretty handy. It's brilliant. I can't believe it took as long as it did for someone to come up with this idea. Because you could like double wrap this if you wanted, or you keep this around your bike, wrapped it a few times. They have all this like hardware where not only can you make a little bracelet out of it, but you can also cinch down. So you feed it through that little slot there. Then all of a sudden you've got a cinch that then you can close that cinch, pop it over that, nice and secure. It's so freaking brilliant. And then you got little hooks that you can add to the end if you need to like wrap this around something, and then this stretches and hooks onto something. You've got this 4-way connector right here. Throw it around the outside of your backpack, throw it around a duffel bag. Connect some long ones, some short ones, connect a few together. Make an extra long one. It's freaking brilliant. It's a really, really smart idea. And yeah, I think that pretty well covers it. I'm gonna try these because I think this would be really handy to have on a motorcycle, back of your truck, like anything really. And let's see what they say about it. Everyone has the power to shape the infinite. We design open-ended tools to bridge the gap between wild ideas and practical solutions. We imagine a world where the lines between user and creator disappear. The world is malleable. Go shape it. Pretty cool. A new way to connect your life, loop or cinch, link multiple together, clip or hook. Got the webbing, 70-pound strength. So they're not the strongest tie downs of all time, but that's why you have tie downs. And it sends you a little guide. You can scan the QR code, watch how they use it, show you a bunch of examples. That is a freaking smart product. So check them out. I think they just sent it in. I don't think they're even sponsoring this video. I think they're just like, you guys will like this stuff. Like, can we send this to you? I was like, you're right. I do like that stuff. So really, really good idea, Modl. Brilliant. Speaking of functionality and universal using things and trying to come up with new concepts, This was, this has got to be up there with our most hated collaboration, but also one of our most successful and most loved collaborations. Because anytime you're doing anything new and original, there's always gonna be pushback. So a lot of people are afraid of that backlash. So they just go so safe with all their projects. They make all their collaborations really safe. They wanna please everybody. They sit and they ask the audience, like, what do you guys want? What do you, and anytime you ask a wide group of people, you're gonna get a very muddled and kind of like universal approach to it. And the problem with that is when you have that style of audience capture or design audience capture, you don't make anything innovative. You don't push the limits. You don't make anything that's actually going to disrupt anything. Because, and that's fine. Some people just design for safety and making lame stuff. I love pushing the limits. I like taking old ideas, reimagining them. How do we reinvent the wheel? How do we take what this brand is already doing and take it to the most extreme or the most flexible, the most this, the most that? But the problem with that is when you do push the limits, people just hate new things. At the end of the day, like, people hate change, they hate new concepts. And that's why even with the ND1, when we launched the ND1, it was like the most hated thing that we did. Everyone was so mad, there's all these write-ups about it. And then they sold in like 2 days, sold out in like 2 days. It's been one of our most popular collaborations. People beg us every single day to bring them back. And so that's why you do it. That's why you disrupt, and that's why you push the limits and try to make something truly original and unique. Because even though you have to deal with the pushback, you unlock what everyone else was afraid of. Everyone was afraid of that pushback. Everyone was afraid of like disrupting and, I don't know, is anyone gonna like this? Is this too wacky? Is this too much? They miss out on all of that. And so it is the give and take of product design. That's part of why it's fun. That's part of the rush of it, because you never know what's gonna work and what's not gonna work. And when we first launched these, there's a good amount of negative feedback about them. And so we were like, oh, I don't know if these are these gonna sell? Is this how it's gonna go? Like, did we get something wrong? And then when we launched them, they just flew off the shelves. We sold a ton of them and they've been really successful. They've been really popular. People have been begging us to bring them back. But there's a reason we haven't brought them back. We'll go over in a sec. But what was that one thing that everyone was so mad about with this boot? Because the whole concept of this boot was to take one of the coolest and most iconic boots in history, the Jungle Boot, and make it basically a Pacific Northwest boot and try to take all the best attributes of the flexibility, the lightweight, the breathability, the color scheme, the paneling, and apply it to a Pacific Northwest boot. Not to just remake the Jungle Boot, because you can go out and buy this in mass, but we wanted to reimagine it and make a Pacific Northwest Jungle Boot. And so the way we accomplished that was we wanted to make the upper really like soft and malleable, flexible. I wasn't concerned about the breathability because this is a heavy duty boot, but I wanted all those other attributes. And you can see they accomplished that by using canvas, these tie down straps to support it. And so what we did was, instead of using canvas, we got this really thick, like 2.5 to 3 millimeter, heavily tumbled leather that's really soft and malleable, so that you have all the flexibility of a Jungle Boot. If you have that unstructured of an upper of a boot, especially this heavy duty of a boot, it doesn't quite fit with how you want the support of the boot. It's gonna kind of sag and look kind of funny. But the same thing with this Jungle Boot. I'm sure they had the idea of like, let's just do a canvas upper, and then quickly realize, no, we need to reinforce this so it doesn't tear through. We need to reinforce it up here, back stay, especially through the eyelets. And so we just did exactly that. We took that upper, and as you can see on the inside, it's a full quarter panel. That is completely seamless up into where it comes together down the heel. And so this is like a regular boot, but made out of really soft leather. But to support it, we ran this exoskeleton all the way around, added that same amount of protection and rip resistance right here with this little strap instead of a tie down strap. We ran it up just like we did with the eyelets, across the top, down the back stay. Still got, you can see this is the sample. Let's see how this is the old school counter in the final version. We did the tactical counter to kind of match it. And that freaking works. It works so good, because even though this is, look how soft this is. You know, you get a lot, you still maintain a ton of flexibility, malleability, but because you've got all these structural supports, when you really cinch this thing down, it still stays really structural and really supportive. And it freaking works. Like, I was like, honestly was shocked that we nailed it so well on the first attempt. And we even took it even further from the Jungle Boot because we wanted to emphasize some of the Pacific Northwest values, heavy duty, like lineman patches, and that's where we took the Rose Anvil lineman patch we developed for the ND2 and applied it to the jungle boot because it just lines up so perfectly. Look at all these hard angular lines with the tactical counter, this angle here, this stitching literally mirrors itself over here. And then like, look at, I'll show you on the final page. And so we just beefed it up like a true Pacific Northwest boot, added a little bit of extra comfort that you didn't get from the original by adding that wedge through there. Nice grippy outsole, rubber midsole, because rubber and rubber bond together, and when it's in water and it's shrinking and it's hot and it's cold, it bonds a lot better while still having that veg tan insole. And so, and on top of that, it's a 360 stitch down construction. And so there's no areas for the water to get into, there's no crevices for mud to creep into, because even though this was a jungle boot based boot, we didn't want, it wasn't made for Vietnam, it's not made for the jungle. And that is where people found the biggest complaint with this boot, because you can see we pretty well mirrored it. You know, it was a very similar boot, just beefed up, improved in a couple different ways. But the original jungle boot, one of the coolest features is in the jungle, in Vietnam, there's no way to prevent water from getting to the inside of your boot. It's just an impossible task. And so how do you wear boots in the jungle? Do you need grip but still keep water out? Or how do you let water in the boot? Like what is the solution to this problem? And they just thought, well, if it's gonna be really easy and nearly impossible to prevent water from getting to the inside of the boot, maybe we should make it just as easy to get the water out of the boot. And so they made this insole, let me see if it's in here. I don't have it with me. This insole almost acted like a bellows, like insole that helps squeeze air and water out through these little ports right there. These little grates that have little teeny holes in them. And so it increases the breathability, it increases the ability to push water out. But the other problem is, if you step in a puddle, it's going right into the inside of your boot. And so I don't even know if we thought that much about it. I think pretty much immediately we're like, well, let's for sure not just put 2 giant holes in the boot, because this is not a jungle boot made for Vietnam. This is a Pacific Northwest reinterpretation of one of the coolest boots of all time. It's not gonna add that much breathability. It's not going to really be beneficial for anybody wearing these boots, because these are not jungle boots. At the end of the day, they're inspired by jungle boots. But for some reason, people really latched onto that. And there's like all these articles and all these like forum threads, all these people freaking out. How dare you not put vent holes in this boot? And it was so weird, because I don't think anyone ever actually wanted it. But anytime, like I said, you do something disruptive, you push the limits, you do something new and interesting, there's always gonna be a core group of people that make it their life goal to find something to complain about it. And I don't even really understand that mindset, if I'm being honest. But we've seen it over and over and over again, where people just are like, well, technically it doesn't have holes in the boot. The original had holes. Why does this not have holes? And you're like, well, because nobody wants holes in their boots, especially like a really nice high quality boot. Or or like the two-toning with the ND1. How dare you put 2 colors of leather on a boot? And people, we sold hundreds and hundreds of those things, and not a single one of the purchasers was like, hey, I wish these were one solid color. And so that's where people get tripped up, because we could have easily been like, oh no, we screwed this up. People are so upset there's no holes. We need to put 2 holes in this and make sure that people are okay. And then we ruin the whole concept of the boot. And then the actual purchasers who don't care if there's a hole in the boot or don't want a vent hole in the boot, they're like, well, now I don't want that boot. And so that's why you have to stick to your guns. If you believe in a concept, you believe in a product, regardless if there's multiple write-ups and people freaking out about it, you gotta stick to your gut, and you gotta stick to your guns, and you gotta do what you know is the right way to do a product. Because at the end of the day, you're still gambling. And you don't know if a product's gonna work. We didn't know if this was gonna sell as well as it did. We didn't know that people are gonna be begging us to bring it back for years afterwards. But these boots are tough to make. So let's re-unbox the boots. And I'll show you why they're so freaking hard to unbox, or why they're so hard to manufacture, and why it might be the last time we ever bring back the ND4. I'm shocked that Nix was so willing to bring it back this time, because I'll tell you why. We unbox it. So speaking of pushing the limits, how do we push the limits with this project? It's so over the top, it's so ridiculous. It's like an exoskeleton double built boot with a lineman patch with all this stuff. Let me show you. Alien Core. Alien Core ND4s. I just hit the mic. I swear if that lost my audio. Oh, look at it. Isn't this sweet? my initial reaction was even more intense and authentic, but I literally just unboxed these 10 minutes ago. But look at that. It's like taking the original concept with, look at that. I forgot to show that to you guys. A little pocket kit. But just making it more jungly. Instead of just having the little pops of green, now all through the edges, you got that big bright pop of green, all through the alignment patch, through the side of the boot, through every single panel, you've got that like Tron looking like pop of color. But the cool part about this is as you actually start wearing these and start beating them up, that bright green core is gonna start showing through. And so brand new, it's a pretty heavy two-tone black and green boot with a little pop of green. But after 5 years of wearing these, and after you scuff the toe a bunch of times, after you beat up the heels, if you drop your axe on it a few times, that bright red core starts to pop through. And by red, I mean green. And so these are gonna look even more insane after people start wearing them. Because that's kind of the fun of these boots. They're built so heavy duty that you can actually wear through that top layer and start exposing that bright green core. I want to age one of these just so I can see what it looks like, but I don't think we have time because these launched literally Thursday. So why do we almost never bring these back? Like what was the reason that I wasn't sure if Nix would ever let us bring it back? Because these are a pain in the butt to make. They are so tough to make. Because like I said, you're almost making two boots over again because this is a regular quarter, but then you've got this exoskeleton that you've got to sew all the way on, double stitching through here, stitch down through there, and then this part is so pretty to me. Like if you look, also there's machines around the background because I literally shut down manufacturing so that we could record this, and then it got screwed up, and so you got to deal with the background noise just like I do. But look at that stitching. Isn't that so pretty? And like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, like 10 lines of stitching junction right through here. And so that alone is a huge pain in the butt to make. Then you look at this side with the alignment patch. So you got additional complication into this. You got all these different layers. You got to get them to line up perfectly. And it's a 10-inch boot too. Like this is a pretty tall boot. It's like you took a regular boot and just added exoskeleton, alignment patch, alien core leather, softer, squishier sole, tactical alignment patch. It's like you took the base model F-150 and then you just added everything to it to make it the Raptor. That's kind of how this is. But it's like a jungle Raptor. It's a Raptor specifically made for that flexibility in the upper, for the protection of that metatarsal knuckle, for that tactical look, for the aging and patina showing the core popping through, still being lightweight enough that you can actually wear these and not be weighing 5 pounds like a lot of the other indie boot series, but still maintain that comfort and that squish and that overall value of the jungle boots, but just cranked up to a 12 and put through the lens of Pacific Northwest. And so what are some of the differences real quick? Well, we got a little different sole. I think Nix maybe discontinued this sole. So they threw on the Vibram Sierra sole. It's a little bit thicker, a little bit chunkier, a little bit longer lasting. Still maintain that full length rubber midsole. Still same as thick of leather. And so really that's the only change that we've made is the Alien Core leather and a little bit beefier, chunkier Sierra sole. Other than that, exact same boot. Exact same, at least from what I can tell, same green leather. And just look how good they age not with Alien Core. Like, you can tell I like these boots because you can see I've actually worn them. I've like worn down the heel a good amount. You can see how much patina and the creasing and rolling and folding that's happened through here, especially through the toe, starting to bulge out and shape to my foot. Got some good wear on the little alignment patch there. You see all that wear in the heels, starting to wear through that. So this is a rare boot that I actually go out of my way to wear because I love the way it feels. It is very unique, and it still takes break-in. I'm not saying it's not it's still gonna be a Pacific Northwest break-in, but it's really comfy because this is soft and squishy, this is soft and squishy, but this is solid as a rock. And so, yeah, it's just a cool boot. So get on that limited edition email list below because that's how you're gonna get early access because there's limited quantities. One of these collaborations, it's the Opie Way boot shoe. I had it on a little bit ago, but I'm wearing my Vivos because I had to steal them for photos. And so the Opie Ways drop in limited quantities. These drop in limited quantities. The Sundance boots are still available, but we're adding them to the launch because we just barely relaunched them. But you can get the Sundance boots right now, actually. And then we got Russell. I don't know if we've shown all the Russell stuff, but one of the Russells is available 5 units. So limited quantities, get on that list, early access, sizing guide, all your information. Get to the first of the list when you do make your order, because this might be the last time we bring back the ND4. It's a good way to end it too, because it's on the Alien Core. And so it's like it's almost like the alien, like exoplanet that's full jungle, like the Predator planet where they dropped everyone off and they're all fighting each other. Like this is the intergalactic space battle version of the Jungle Boot, made for the 26th century in the grim dark future of humanity. Only one boot reigns supreme, the ND4. So fun. It's a good project. It turned out I ended up being just as hyped at the end of the video because these boots are sick. Started off a little grouchy and a little pissy, but I know I'm giving myself cold chills talking about freaking dark, grim future. So that's it. So thank you guys. Get on that list. They drop on Thursday. Huge shout out to Nix once again for supporting us and doing all this stuff, because the only way that we can afford to run a YouTube channel is through these collaborations. It's through our handmade leather goods. You know, we could not run this business if it was just YouTube alone. I think YouTube's changing. They're prioritizing AI, they're prioritizing short form content. And so these long form videos, especially on the main channel, we just give you all the information you could ever need about making a decision for purchasing footwear. Is such a high value, but to an algorithm, it's not. And so in order to keep those videos going, that's why we push these collaborations. That's why we're always coming up with new products, not only to keep the business running for you guys to be able to watch the never-ending supply of boots and shoes being cut in half, but also so that we can push the limits of these things, so we can work with these brands intimately and learn how they work, what works and why it doesn't work, why can't we do this, why is this the way it is? And it's ultimately what I love doing. That's why I started this whole thing. We don't have any investors. Nobody else owns the company but me. And it's because I wanted to make a business where I could make a difference in the world, but also just to dig deep into product design and try to come up with new ideas, disrupt a little bit. Do that game of like, oh man, everyone's so pissed at this idea, but I freaking love it. Let's launch it. I'm gonna double down my own ideas. I think this is gonna work. You know, it's so fun to do. And it's the only way we could do this is through your guys' support. And it's the only way we have been able to do it. And through the brands like Nix, Whites, Opie Way, Russell Mock. That's the only way we can do this. So check those guys out, and thank you guys for your support. See ya. I'm gonna make sure my audio is working, because I swear if I do this all over again, I'll myself.